So, guys, today we are going to introduce our introduction to TDD with PHP, right? So before, I think in React and Vue, so Hiran and Nipun, he did their TDD process in practical session. So today I'm going to introduce that introduction to TDD, how to TDD implement with the PHP. So before goes to the session, guys, so I'm going to explain a bit how important that TDD and how it will help us to continue our development. So first of all, one thing is, first important thing is, guys, so as a developer, you all can get confidence with their code. So you don't want to hesitate. So after you development, because in TDD, we are starting with starting the test first. So developers don't want to hesitate with their code, and they can pass the code happily to the QA. The second important thing is refactoring. There will be a reduction, that means time reduce when you are going to refactor the code. So let's say, so currently how we are implementing our development process is like design, implementing, after that testing. So that is not the way in TDD. First, we are bringing that testing part before. So in that case, it will reduce refactoring time. The third important aspect is we are getting, that means raising bugs from client end. So before raise the bugs from client end, we need to minimum amount of bugs, minimum we need to test, and we need to give the clear code to the production. So we need to reduce from raising bugs from client end. So those are the important aspects we need to consider the TDD. So that is the reason. So we are introducing TDD in all languages. We need to implement it, guys. So let's move with our session. All you can hear, right?
Yes, Nasmy.
Okay. So these are the contents today I am going to do in this session. So first of all, the TDD cycle I will introduce. After that, the testing types, bit of testing types we'll talk. So after about PHP unit, that is the framework, testing framework in PHP, we are going to handle. So after we'll move with the how we are configuring that PHP unit with PHP. So after let's go with the coding session, guys. So the first thing is the test driven development cycle. So in this test driven development cycle, so we as a it is a common way, the test driven development cycle. So not only for PHP, it is in all languages, it is common. So we need to follow these 3 steps. The first step is, guys, we are not writing that production code first. We need to write the testing first. After that, it will make fail. Why? The reason is it is getting fail. We are not writing any production code. That is the reason it is getting fail. So that is the first step we need to do. So after that, so fail test, we need to write a minimum code. We write just enough code to pass that test. So once we complete that step 2, we need to go with the refactoring the code. So these are the 3 steps we need to follow in our TDD process. So I will explain when I am doing the coding session. So these 3 steps, according to these 3 steps, how we are implementing the TDD testing. Okay, guys. So the second thing is the testing types. Why I have mentioned this table in here, guys? Because we need to understand these testing types, in which scenario we are using this. So actually there are 4 types of testing, like unit test, integration test, and the functional test, acceptance test. So these 4 tests are, it will according to the level. So unit test is the most lowest level. The most highest level is the acceptance test. So when it's come to the unit test, it is explaining about a small piece of code in a class. Let's say, for an example, when you take a calculator class, inside that calculator class, there will be a method multiplying method, addition, subtraction, division. So each and every method we are testing individually. So that is called the unit test. When it's come to the integration test, so it is testing more than one class. So let's say for an example, you wanted to get the results of the user. That means user information you need to get. So in user model, there is a method called get user information. So when you passing an ID, it is retrieving the user. It is fetching the results from the database. In that case, we need to communicate. We need to interact with two or more classes, like with the database classes, with the user model. So in that case, it is integration test. So integration test, it is not testing all feature. So when it's come to the functional test, it is testing all feature. So what we have implemented, like let's say, so user registration module. So in that user registration module, in a user controller, you will define some actions when it's come to a MVC. So you will define in each controller actions. So when it's so we need to test first, it is going into a correct route path, like a user create, user update. We need to test the correct route path, and in that route path, we need to get a clear response. So that is we are testing in the functional test. So after registration form will appear, after that we are adding some data in the fields, and we need to save into the database. So whole feature it will test. But in acceptance test, it is from the client point of view. So we need to test whole feature with the client point of view, and we have to use that Selenium, like a Selenium tool, automation testing tool. So end of the session, I will explain how we are configuring the Selenium tool with the PHP unit. So guys, up to now, do you have any issues or any questions? Anyone, guys?
No.
Okay, let's move with the PHP unit. Okay, so the PHP unit, actually it is a testing framework in PHP. So there are multiple testing frameworks, like Codeception framework. Let's take a Codeception framework. Each framework, it is built top of a PHP unit. So we need to clear understanding about that PHP unit. If we get thorough understanding about the PHP unit, so we can easily understand other frameworks as well. So that's the reason I have introduced the PHP unit testing framework here. So it is using in most of the PHP framework like Zen, Laravel, Symfony. But in E2 or E framework, it is using the Codeception framework. It is standard. So, but it is top of PHP unit. And also it is easy to work with the CI server. So we can integrate it as well. So this is about that the PHP unit, guys. So let's move with the configuration, how we are configuring this PHP unit. So this is the configuration, how we are configuring the PHP unit. Actually, I have provided documentation along with your email. I think, I hope you all have that documentation, right? So I have mentioned all the commands. So if there is any miss command, so I will provide it in your chat. So basically we require XAMPP, LAMPO, MAMP, WAMP you can use for Apache and PHP installation. So PHP 7.3 or higher we are recommending, because a new framework, if you are using, it's better. And PHP Storm, I love PHP Storm and Sublime. So you can use any other editor tool like VS Code or something. And dependency manager, we are using the Composer. In React or Vue, you are using npm. Packet.json will create. In here, it will create Composer.json. So I will move with the configuration first. This is our code editor, PHP unit. So let's start with our now we will create our Composer.json first, guys. So compose. So when we type here the composer init, it will initiate. So it will ask that the what are the package name you are going to use. So I am going to use the same. So I am entering here, and the description. So description also I'm here the same. So you are using any author, I am giving for the moment no. And minimum stability, I'm giving some empty. It will come like a dev or alpha or kind of environment. So empty. So package type, I'm not going to install any package type for the moment. ISON, and here define your dependencies in simply I'm saying. So in here also, guys, am I quick? Oh, so now that the composer JSON it is generating.
It's okay, Nasmy.
Okay.
Not quick.
So do you confirm generation? So now you, when you have entered, you can see the composer JSON file it has created. So after, the next step is in the configuration, we need to install the PHP unit. So I will go with that documentation bit. So in here, you can see guys the documentation, how installing the PHP unit. So once you go to the installation. So I am not using this PHP archive. Today I'm going to use PHP using the composer. So here, point to the latest version here. And also when we are starting the Selenium, in the Selenium, we have to use 8.0 because in 9.2 newer version that Selenium is not supporting for the moment. So now I will use 9.2. When it's come to the Selenium, configuring Selenium, I will use the 8.0. So guys, now let's start here. Okay. So compose, sorry. Now it is installed. Before install, we will go a bit more with that the documentation until installation. So guys, actually in this documentation, all the examples and testing examples they have given. So in mainly we have to focus these assertions, annotations, and later on, if you have time, you can go through all the information about the documentation. So assertions, there are a lot of assert method. Actually, the assertion means, guys, use of these assert methods, we are getting that expected results. So if that assertion is getting failed, mean our testing is getting failed. So if we are, if the asserts are getting passed, that means that our testing is getting passed. So for an example, let's go a simple assert function here. So here the assert array key here defined as assert array has key. Let's say you are retrieving an array from a class method of a class. So in that array, you have to check this foo, like example foo, it is including in this array. So in this key is including this array. So likewise, it is lot of assertions are here. So today's session, I will go through 2 or 3 assertions and annotations. So I will explain that annotations when it is moving to the development. Okay. So now guys, it is installed the PHP unit with 9.2. So now let's do with wait. Now after that, another one thing we need to generate, that means PHP unit XML file we need to generate. So I think in the documentation I have given the code for generate how. So in Windows I'm using like this for the path vendor bin PHP unit installed in vendor path. So I'm generating the configuration XML file. So it is asking vendor auto load. So I am giving the vendor auto load because it will automatically load the classes and everything. So I'm keeping here. So this is called the test directory. Actually the test directory where we are putting our all testing files in this directory. So we are using this test as it is. So and the source directory, our production code we are putting in this source directory. So once we enter, so it is also generated. So once you go to the editor, so PHP unit XML is generated, and when this go here, the test suite, it is saying that the test directory it is appearing and the source directory, but it is not automatically creating here. We need to create that is a manual. So these are the configuration options. So once we are continuing with that, so I will explaining what are the configurations here, why we use this. So for the moment I will skip here, and so now we have configured. After that we need to create these two directories, guys. So one is tests, the next one is source directory. So inside the source directory we are adding all our classes, production classes. Here we are testing files, here we are adding. After that, here one more directory I am creating for the timing purpose, because that is exceptions. Okay, so this is the exceptions directory. Okay, so we have created now the exceptions directory. After here we need to give those directories like auto load. Okay, so once it auto load, so we need to map all the classes inside those directories. So here source and another one more directory, source, exceptions directory. So now I have auto loaded this directory. Okay, so now we will we will run we didn't write any test classes, just we will run and have a look how it will appear. Vendor bin unit and tests. Sorry guys. So guys, still we didn't create any classes, testing classes. Now it is saying no test executed, but when it's look at here, it's bit very difficult to identify if it is get error or anything success. It's very difficult to identify. So for the moment, so I will go to the configuration PHP unit XML file, and I am giving here colors equal. Okay, so now we'll have run and see how it will appear. Now it is appearing with the yellow color, so it is nice and easy to understand if it is error occurred or anything related. Okay, so let's move what we are going to discuss in this practical session. Okay. So today I'm going to use to do a practical session as a BMI calculator, body mass index. In here, once we give our weight, and it will give as a response, like let's say if it is less than 18, it is a BMI value, it will get printing underweight. If it is in between, so it is normal, like between 18 and 25 in between, it is called normal, and greater than 25, it is overweight. So just will come here that the body mass index. So in Wikipedia, it is saying this a calculation how it is working. So here the body mass, it is body mass or a weight. So we can just assume a weight. It is easy to understand by everyone. So weight dividing by square root of body height. So this is the equation I have mentioned here. So we are rounding that value, weight dividing by power. That power in PHP, we are using mathematical function, the power and height and power, square root of height. Okay. And here this one means, guys, I am restrict to the 1 decimal point and round the value. So let's move with our practical session, how we are implementing with our TDD unit tests. Okay. So first I am going to create my first testing class, BMI calculator test. So this is my first testing class here, and I am extends from the superclass test case. Okay. So first I am going to test, guys, here the text results first. After we'll go with this calculate method. So because we need to handle with the exception as well. So I will first do with the results of how it's appearing the results. First test. So here public, I'm creating another function, test underweight. So this is our first test method I am going to write. So in here, guys, so lot of methods will come here later on. So in each and every method, if we are initiating the classes, it's not good. So for that, I am coming to a method called setup in PHP unit. It's like in React, like a init method. So in that we can define our classes. So initiate our classes. Function setup. So it is a void method actually. So for best practice, so we will use this. It's not return anything. So guys, in my tool editor, it is using 7.0. So I have switched it to 7.1 now. So let's start with our, so I have explained you that the TDD cycle. So according to the TDD cycle, the first step is, guys, we need to fail the test. So once we fail the test, because we are not writing any production code, we are getting fail first. After that, we are writing minimum set of code. So let's start with to write the code for failing the test. Okay. So I am removing here. I don't want this. So here I am creating a variable called public $BMI. Okay. So now I am here initiating the class. BMI calculator equal new. So actually we didn't create the class first. So it will get definitely an error once we execute, once we run our first test. So don't worry about that, guys. So we can handle it. Okay. So this now BMI calculator. So we are calling an object, that BMI object from the BMI calculator class, and we are assigning here the value 15. So I saw already below 18, it will give the results. It should give the results underweight. So here again, I'm calling another method from our class. BMI calculator. Next. Results from BMI. So this is the method I am going to call from BMI class, but we didn't create a class. So the expected value is underweight. So expected value is underweight, and this assert same. Actually, guys, there is a two assert similar to this assert same. One is assert same and one is a assert equal. So assert same is compare with the string value, and the assert equal is comparing with the digits or numbers. So numbers it is doing. So in here I am going to expecting a string, so I am using the assert same. Okay, so expected dollar results. So first test we have written, but we didn't initiate any class, and let's see what will happen to our test. Yeah, it is getting an error. So in here, another error it is calling like a risky, and it is this test does not have a covers annotation, but it is expected to have one. Actually, guys, I already said in the documentation there are some annotations we have to use. So in at cover annotations, it is saying so the code coverage it will once we give here like an annotation called the coverage, it will apply into the code coverage report. So simple example. So let's say here you can use so at covers. Okay, so here you can define the classes, but I didn't initiate any class. So just I am mentioning this annotation here, and I am running the test. Yes, the risky test is gone because I have declared that annotation. So, and the second way is if you don't want to apply in that generated code coverage report, so just you can eliminate here. So you can remove here, and in the PHP unit XML configuration file, you can make it this force cover annotation false. Okay, guys. Okay. Now let's again will run. Yes. So we have eliminated that risk. So I don't want that now for the moment at annotation, cover annotations. So let's now we have in a TDD cycle, we have we did our first step, that means fail the test. Now the second step, we are writing the minimum level of codes to pass this test. So let's create our class again. So in source, I'm going to create a class called BMI calculator. Okay, guys. So BMI calculator class I created. Now here, so I need actually here the objects, BMI object here. So public $BMI. So after that, I'm going to come here, public function here. What I have mentioned, so I'm just copy and paste here for the save time. So I am not going to write any logic. So just I am return underweight. Now we will try execute our run and check. BMI calculator class not found. Yes, because we have created, but it is not loaded because we need to run another command, guys. Here, composer dump auto load. So it will automatically take what we have created new files. So now let's run our test. Yes, our first test is passed, guys. So this is the second step. Okay. So here I have written the second step in TDD cycle, the minimum level of code. Now I am going to refactor this code. If $this less than 18, if, sorry, this BMI, sorry guys, BMI less than 18, it will return underweight. So now let's see what will happen to the test. Okay, so our first test is passed according to the TDD cycle, guys. So is there any questions up to now? Hello? Hello, guys.
For me, not. Nothing. It's all clear.
Okay, right? So guys, let's move our
Others?
second method. So before that, another thing is I wanted to explain. So there is a function like a agile testing style. So I will show you how that the agile testing style is work. So once we give here test doc command, you can see here that the BMI class, and nicely it is showing my method underweight BMI text resource. So this is the part of agile testing style in PHP unit. We can display like this, so we can easily understand so in which test method it's getting passed. So this is the way. Okay guys, so let's move to our second testing method. So I'm just the same scenario is applying into the other other two test scenarios. So just I'm copy paste this code here. It should come normal weight, and the BMI value should be between 18 and the 25. So I am giving here 20, and here the expected value should be normal. Okay, so now I am going to test here. Yes, it is getting failed. What is the reason is the failed asserting that null is identical not to normal. So it is not returning anything. So it is giving a null value. So now the first step is finished. The second step I am going to write the minimum code. So here, okay, so else return normal value. So now I am going to run the test here. Yes, the second test is going past, but it is in our TDD cycle. It is in the minimum level of code. Now I am going to write that the refactoring code.
Nasmy, small question.
Yeah.
Can I ask?
Yes.
So like, so I have noticed that in other tools that we have a kind of loop process where the test tool is running. So
Okay.
then whenever we change the code, it will be executed automatically, but it seems like in PHP we have to run it manually every time.
Yes,
Back.
for the movement, yeah, we can integrate that, but for the movement for understanding purpose, so I'm run it manually, so then it is easy to understand. That's the reason. Yeah.
All right, all right. Okay. So there is a way for that to configure that feedback loop as well in PHP.
Yeah, so we have to go through it, but we can do it. Sure. Sure.
Okay, okay. Thanks. Thanks, Nasmi.
Okay. So here I'm going else, else if. So just I'm going to the calculation here. Okay. So it is returning normal, and else it's return just I will say the empty string. Okay. So now we will execute our test. Okay. So the second test is passing. Now we will come, we need to do another one more test here for this. It is overweight. So I will copy here the code. Sorry, copy here the code. Overweight, overweight BMI text resource. Okay. Yeah, I'm giving. So I am expecting that overweight, but I am returning here the null value. So let's see what we do. So it is getting fail. So actually is that overweight, but it is in the normal status, because guys here I have mentioned the 20. So I will it should be, if it is an overweight, it should be the value more than 25. So let's give here 27 and we'll check the test results. Yeah, so it is giving that empty string. So just we don't want to do, just I'm here type overweight. Overweight. So let's see. Yeah, 3 tests pass. So now guys, we are going to do our calculation test. So calculator test. So we have to write a method here for the calculation. Test. Correct value from BMI. So get correct value from the BMI. So from BMI, just you can make it simpler from BMI. Okay. So guys, I have tested this. So according to this, I am figuring here. So I can't test it one by one. So what I have tested, I will explain. Okay. Expected value, we are defining here 39.1. So this BMI calculator, height equal 1.6. So actually the height is in guys meter, and this BMI calculator, the weight, it is 100, it is in kilograms. So now I'm going to write the results. was equal dollar this BMI calculator calculate method. Okay guys, so I have written here the calculate method. Now, so I already explained guys that the assert same and the assert equal. Now I am going to use that assertion called the assert equal, because it is I am testing a digit. Okay, so this assert equal dollar expected value and the results. So we'll have a look the test what will happen. Yes, the assertion one method one it is failing. All undefined method BMI calculator calculate. So I'm going to implement here my calculator method. Before that, I'm initializing here $height and public method $weight. Okay, so public function calculate. Okay, now I'm going to just a minimum set of code. I'm writing here return. So the results it should be guys expected results 39.1. So I am not writing the formula right now, and I am trying to pass this test. Yes. Sorry, there is some undefined method. Calculate.
That spelling is calculate. The previous one. The BMI calculator of test PHP. The spelling mistake. CA.
Thanks, guys. Okay. So now I'm going to. Yes. It is passing our second step. Now I am going to run our third step with the formula. So return and round the value, round dollar is weight divided by the power of height. So this height. Okay guys, so here I am keeping that we are restricting to the decimal value. Okay, so the code is reflected this height. Sorry guys, so here we need to put the square root exponential function. So next we will run our test guys. Yes, it is getting passed. So now we have written the all our testing methods, but we need to write here an exception method, because when the value is here coming 0 or less than 0 or negative numbers, it will want it should have to throw an error. So I am going to write a custom exception class. So before that we need to write a exception method, a testing method. So we'll write our exception test method, guys. So exception class. So here I am going to extend test case. So here guys, I have extending from the superclass test, and now I am going to write my test method. Public function test exception. Okay guys, So in PHP unit, so there is an exception method called except exception. So if there is no any exception, so the test will get fail. Okay, so this is that method. This
Nasmy, this is also a test class, right?
yeah, this is also a test class.
Yeah, then shall we better have the naming
Sorry,
convention
I
as a
don't
test class?
clear.
Shall we have the name of the class, naming convention as a test class, like to be, if, dot end with test or something like that?
Sorry, I didn't get. Yeah, sorry, I did the mistake. Thanks.
No. I just want to tell because
Yeah. It should be
you
a.
might get confused
Yeah,
whether
yeah.
it's the exception class or test class.
Yes.
Okay, no problem. I just want to.
Okay, guys. So now, thanks, Zainab. So it should have here normally a best practice. We need to write the same class name here. So I have forgot this. Thanks. So here I am giving wrong BMI data exception. So this is the custom class I'm going to write. So wrong data exception, and here just guys I'm copy paste the code. So what I'm going to call here, okay, I'm not going to initialize here setup. So only one method I'm going to use here. So the calculator method it is getting called. Let's try to run this test. Okay. So before that, okay, now let's run our test. Yes, undefined function wrong BMI data exception. So here it is, there is a wrong way of implementation. Here we need to put the class. So let's run. So it's now saying fail asserting that exception of trying wrong BMI data exception. So still we didn't throw that exception. So in here exception class, I'm creating a class called the wrong BMI data exception. Okay. Exception. Okay, wrong BMI data exception, and this is I'm going to extend the exception. I don't want to write here anything. Just I'm going with that BMI calculator and I'm going to throw in BMI calculator class. Here I am throwing if this wait for a while. Here is a wrong. Wait. Calculator. This weight less than or equal 0, or I'm writing here dollar this height less than or equal 0. So I am going to throw that exception, throw new wrong BMI data exception. So in here I am passing the message data is not valid. So now I am going to pass the test. There is a wrong BMI data exception does not exist. So we will auto load this and also done. So now I will run the test. So it is getting passed. So this is in unit test in PHP. So these are the tests I did. So the calculator method and the get text results from BMI. Here, I think there is a mistake. Yeah. So, okay, guys. So these are the steps we need to follow. And is there any question, guys? Hello?
I'm okay. Anybody else?
Zainab, bit that means voice
Here,
is slow.
I'm okay, Nasmy. Like others having any questions?
Okay, guys. So, is there any questions, guys? Others? Hiran?
No questions, Osman.
Okay, guys. So, shall we move with our selenium test? So, today, guys, in the selenium, so just I am going to show you how we are integrating this selenium test, selenium tool with the PHP unit. So, I will go with this documentation in the selenium bit. So, in here, in the selenium, once you go with the okay. So once you go to that the downloads, there is the Selenium server and the browser version. So you can check with your browser here, the Chrome browser. So it is showing that 83.04103.116. According to this suitable version, we need to download the driver. So the browser driver. So once you scroll down here, the browsers. So here there are the browser Firefox, Internet Explorer, Safari, Opera, Chrome, and Edge. So I am going to use in a Chrome for configuration purpose small test. So here, once we go with the documentation, here you can download the Chrome driver. So I will show my directory. Hey guys, here I have downloaded. So here I have downloaded that two Chrome driver and the Selenium server. So you need to install the Java should have to install in your machine. Then only that the Selenium server it will run. So before that, we need to configure what we have done previously because the 9.2 version, the PHP unit in here the 9.2 version it is not supporting. Okay, so because of that we need to install 8.0 version. So let's on scratch we will install, then you can easily understand. Okay guys, so let's move with our the second session. So I'm going with this here. So the what are the steps I have followed previously, the same step I'm going to run here. And now the composer JSON as it is generated. After that, we'll create our what do you call it, Selenium with the package manager. Will install our PHP Selenium, PHP unit Selenium. So for that, we need this command. So it is mentioned in your documentation, guys. So it is that 8.0. So let's start that. So it is getting a bit delay to install this. So in this case, guys, we don't want to install the PHP unit. With this PHP unit Selenium, it will automatically install that PHP unit as well. So just it is a dev dependency. Just you install PHP Selenium, the PHP unit also install. Okay guys, now I have installed the PHP unit Selenium. After that, now we have configured with our PHP Selenium vendor file, it is generated, and the composer JSON file, composer JSON log file, sorry. And another one is I need to do one more thing is a generate configuration file. So I will do that as well. Copy paste command. So it is the same as it is what we have followed. So the configuration PHP unit XML file also it is generated. Now we can write our test. So let's move with our test. So this is generated, and now I am going to create this test directory. So I am not going to use any classes, just test class I am going to write to show the how we are started with the Selenium. Okay, so in PHP directory, test directory, in the test directory, I am going to write a class called first Selenium test. Okay, the first Selenium test I have written here, and extends the Selenium to test case. Okay guys, so now I have extend the class. Now I'm going to use this the setup method here. So in here, I am going to check guys just a page title of a Google. So it is easy for us how we can start with it. So we need to initialize in setup method browser URL and what is the testing browser we are using. So in here, this set browser URL, just I am giving slash, and this is the base URL I am set up here, and I am going to give this set browser, and here I am going to pass Chrome browser. Now we have initialized our setup method. Now we are going to implement our testing method. Test title so sorry, here public function. Okay, so the title of the page here. So here again I am going to use the URL. What is this? Actually in here, let's say for an example, we are using like a webboxdev.com for the testing base URL. Here we are defining that the route path where it is going, that user create or user edit or user delete. So here now for the moment I am going to test the index page, so I am not defining here, and I am going to write this assert same, assert same. Here just I am passing here, let's say the test, and this title. Now we will go and have a look the Google page. In here, once we inspected here, guys, you can see the title as where are we? I think here not appearing. .com. So in here, inspected it. In header section, you can see the Google as a title. Okay, so here just I have mentioned here just a test, and we'll run our test first. After that, we will refactor it. So now it is running. Yeah, now it is giving an error, guys. The Selenium server is not active on the localhost port 444. That means still we didn't run our Selenium server. That is the error, first error it is caused. So let's start our Selenium server first. So for that, so I am going with this Selenium server here. Here, once we open this, so in your document below, I have given the command, the Java command. So you need to run that Selenium server here. Guys, now the Selenium server is up and running on port 444. So when we come here and run the test, yes, now it is testing. It is the expected one is the test. The results is giving Google. So now the test is failing. So when we go with there, so we need to make it as a Google and we'll try out. And we are running the test back. Yes, guys, it is passing the test, but we didn't give any configuration options here like colors equal to, and now we will test back again. Yes, it is getting passed, guys. So actually for the time being, so I have introduced with this PHP Selenium small testing part, but I hope with in future, guys, we have to show with the real-time example with how we are testing with the test dependencies abstraction class. So how we are using with that. So that's it for the today's session, guys. Is there any questions, guys?